Welcome in, everybody. Brett Elmore, WJLX Sports, Alabama High School Athletic Association, doing their reclassification today. And it's a big day in the state of Alabama. You know, you always have these preview shows releasing the SEC schedule. They make a big to do about that. High school football is such a big to do in the state of Alabama. And today, the reclassification for the 2024 2026 seasons. Where will the teams go? Where will they land? That's what we're going to find out here today. They have been meeting for an hour now in Montgomery, and we understand that they are coming across a few problems, or maybe they can't figure out really where they want to put some folks and put some teams. So, kind of surprising that they're having this much trouble when they have been working on this for quite some time. But this has to be approved by the central board there in Montgomery. Joining us on today's show is James Phillips. He is with the Community Journal. And James, welcome in. And always good to see you. And this is an exciting day for high school football fans.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Football season just ended, and now we're already talking about next year, and
Yeah.
and that's the fun thing. But yeah, I'm like you. It's surprising me that they're having trouble this morning. I was under the impression that all the decisions had been made and they would be releasing information at 10 o'clock this morning. But maybe there's a few that they're still thinking over.
Yeah, there's a few they're still thinking over. And, you know, yeah, I'm with you. I thought they had all this already panned out and kind of figured out, but apparently there's some discussions going on, and they say that this may take a while, so we may have to break away and then come back. But we were wanting to go ahead and get on the air. Um, Number one question I get asked, of course, where's Jasper going to land? And
Right.
that's kind of what I've always been asked, is always about Jasper, being on the broadcast. But do I believe they'll be in 6A? I do. You're going to have some shifting, James, because of private schools. You've got you have some chatter, and this may be what they're talking about, of expanding Class 7A, which I think they need to
Right.
do.
I think
And
so too.
if you expand 7A, 7A is such a small classification now. You need to take some of these bigger schools out of the equation in Class 6A, like the Clay Chalkvilles and the Mountain Brooks and some of those teams that, frankly, a team like Jasper cannot compete with.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you've got teams like Mountain Brook. You've got. I would think Homewood would probably be one that's right
Yeah.
on the edge. But Jasper's had to play these teams, and it shows on the court. It shows on the field, on the football field, that Jasper's not ready for what I would call primetime 6A. Now they can compete with the schools that are around their size. When we're talking about schools like Coleman, Hartselle, people like that, and maybe some of these Tuscaloosa schools that we've heard they may end up in their classification. But playing against teams like Clay Chalk, Pinson Valley, Mountain Brook, Homewood, that's just not our league.
No, it's not. There's a lot of chatter over the weekend. Like we mentioned, there was a little bit of you get a leak from time to time, and there was some word that Jasper would move to Region 4 in Class 6A, when they would compete with teams like Central Tuscaloosa, Northridge, I believe, is in there. Paul Bryant is in there. Um, McAdory would be in there. Um, those are teams I think Jasper can be competitive with. There was a couple more
Right.
in there as well, but they're not coming off the top of my head. But I also talked to someone this morning from North Alabama up in Huntsville, in the Huntsville market, and they said, well, we're hearing that Jasper's going to come north and play the Colemans, the Hartzels, those teams, which I would be fine with as well. I think the main thing is, at least for me, and I want to get out of the Birmingham area.
Right. Yeah. I think that's the thing that we had a coaching change the first time that we moved into 6A, because we were ending up in such a tough area.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we'll see that this year, but it's really that's a really tough spot being in those Birmingham schools in 6A.
Yeah, it is.
Now,
And
have you heard? I heard one of our other teams who may make a little bit of a move could be Curry. That Curry may drop to 3A even.
that would be beneficial. Yeah, I think they do the competitive grading now, especially with private schools.
Right.
If you dominate, sort of like a Mars Hill, you know,
Yeah.
they have moved up, in classifications because they were dominant and winning championships and everything they're playing. Which the whole private school situation is a totally different monster that we can get into. I don't like private schools competing with public schools
Right.
because they're able to recruit and give scholarships to their schools.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's a competitive disadvantage. And if you look at who wins state championships, just take a look back at the football. Half of the teams were private schools.
Yeah. Well, you look into that. You look at volleyball.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it creep into basketball as much yet, but it definitely will.
Oh, it will. Yeah, it will. But back to Curry. Yeah, I think from a competitive standpoint, yeah, they need to be in 3A. They
Yeah.
certainly had no business being in 5A a few years ago.
No.
And they've struggled in Class 4A.
Right.
3A, maybe they can get something going there. And that would be a blessing for them, I know.
Well, and another team that's kind of struggled in the classification that they're in now is Cordova,
Yeah.
and there's a chance they could even move up to 5A. And they were in 5A, a couple of years ago, and that was not a good experience for them.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't a good experience at all for them. And they're going to be another one of those schools, like you were talking about, that will be entering in this new region, wherever they may land, with a new football coach, as Coach Smothers is gone now.
Right? Yeah, and I mean that's a whole other question mark there. Um, how do people react to what region they're going to be in? Does that take some names out of your basket that might have been interested in your program, or does it add some more people that want to come there?
That's a good point because that would be that would weigh heavily on my mind if I'm looking at a job. Is where's this team going to land? Are we going to be which classification, which region are we going to be in? Who am I going to have to compete with? Yeah, if they move up, you may have a coach saying, this job's not as attractive as what I thought it was.
Right. Well, and I love Cordova. I love
Oh
all of
yeah,
our schools in Walker County. But if you want to pick a place that would be, there'd probably be a lot of pressure at Cordova. They've got a strong football tradition.
pressure
Um,
at Cordova? Surely not.
you've got to think that's got to be one of the most pressure spots, maybe the most pressure spot in Walker County.
Absolutely. You're just like I am. We talk to fans and have for years, and Cordova's some of the most rabid football fans I have ever witnessed. And they want to win, and they want to win now. And sometimes it takes some time, but they had some tough breaks over the past couple of years. Really, they did.
Yeah, they really did. It's been it's like they couldn't move forward without two bad things happening. And I think they showed a lot of promise. There were a lot of close games the last couple of years that
Yeah,
they just couldn't get over that hump. So maybe some new blood coming in there will get the fan base excited and get players out on the field.
that's what it's going to take. Going to have to get out and haul and get those players. Um, Addison would be a team that I'm interested in seeing. I had heard that they would be making the move to 2A and being one of the smallest 2A schools in the state of Alabama.
Right. Yeah, and they definitely would be one of the smallest. Um, as far as Addison goes, the style of football they play, I don't know if 1A or 2A is a big difference for them. I mean, I know once you start talking about some of those really high level schools in 2A, it's a big difference. But with what classification or what region Addison would end up in, probably going to be some similar teams to what they would face in their 1A region too.
Yeah, and of course, Addison's always Addison.
Right. They're not going to change the way they play football, no matter if they're in 1A or 7A. They're still going to do what they do.
And traditionally, even in their non-region games, they always played. They'd play the Packers if they could.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference to Coach Smothers and that group up in Addison. They'll play whoever, whenever, wherever, and
Right.
and they'll be fine. Some of the others, I don't think we're going to have a whole lot of movement. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think Oakland and Carbon Hill are going to stay at 3A. It would be interesting if Curry could make that drop down and all three of those teams end up in the same region. That would be good for local teams. Um, I think, and we're going to see Summerton Christian, Meek, um, all those schools are going to stay 1A. I don't think we're going to see any of our 1As jump up unless it could be Addison. That's the only one that I think could jump up. And I guess I don't see Winston County going anywhere. What about you?
I don't see them going anywhere. And hey, they did a good job there at Winston County under their first year head coach.
Yeah, definitely they turned a lot of eyes. I really thought going into the season with a new coach, it may be a struggle. And they didn't do as well as last year, but I felt like they really they showed a lot of promise. They had some injuries that set them back, or I think they would have made playoffs. Winston County football across the county has been so much better the last 2 to 3 years than what we were used to for a decade.
Yeah, they have been. They have been kind of the cream of the crop, and toting the banner for the Walwyn area. I mean, you look at
Yeah,
last year, what Meek had did, what they accomplished, and of course Lynn has had two really good seasons in a row. Addison, like we mentioned, it's always Addison. Winston County's always got a good program. There's a lot of good things going up in that county for sure.
yeah, I think so. And they, like you said, they've been the bell cow for our area the last couple of years. Walker County teams have kind of struggled over these last couple of years, but all that we're talking about today is reclassification, and that could change some people's fortunes over the next couple of years.
Yeah, it's all about where you land and who is in that region. Um, Even with Jasper's situation, they were at 6A, then they made the move down to 5A, and everyone took that collective gasp of relief. It's like, oh, thank God, back down to 5A where we belong. And then, you come out of the toughest 6A region in the state, and you get thrown right into the toughest 5A region in the state.
Yeah, there was no, you weren't playing Pinson Valley and you weren't playing Clay Chalkville, but you sure didn't miss a beat playing teams like Pleasant Grove and Ramsey, and even some of the teams who didn't do as well, or like John Carroll this year that came out of nowhere and was a much better team. Jasper has not had an easy region in what now 4 years, and then I don't know for the region. I mean, it definitely was a lot easier for 2 years there, but it was still a good region, and Jasper had a lot of talent for about 2 or 3 years there that really made the difference.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that Coach is doing now, Coach Reeves, which I have been very impressed with. What do you think about Coach Reeves?
Yeah, I think he did a good job for the first year. It was a tough move to be able to come in, and he's coming from the college ranks to high school for the first time in quite a while, and that's a different ball game. And I think that he embraced the community. I think he did a good job of that. I think that he's moving it in the right direction. I think the junior high teams seem to be moving in the right direction. It's just going to be can he keep people at Jasper, not transferring other places, and can he get the people who are walking the hallways to come out and play football? It's not as easy as it used to be when you or I were in high school. We didn't have I didn't have smartphones. I'm pretty sure you didn't either.
I had a beeper.
Yeah, there. So a beeper wasn't really keeping your attention. You could go do some extracurricular activities, but today it's hard to get kids out. It's hard to get them to see the benefits in being a part of a team and sacrificing your time and things like that. So it's a whole different ball game than what it was even 10 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, who wants to get out in 115-degree weather when you could be laid up in the house playing Xbox, right?
Exactly. That's exactly right.
I mean, that's just the way the kids now are kind of geared toward. Man, I sound like an old man. Just
Get
like an
off
old
my
man.
lawn.
Get off my lawn. But no, it is that way, and there's a lot of talent walking the halls in each and every one of these schools, and I think that's one thing that the coaches just have a hard time with is trying to get these kids, number one, sold into the program, and number two, you got to believe that you can win. Jasper had some misfortunes over the season this past year too, and the year before that. But nevertheless, you can't make excuses. You got to go out there and win. I don't particularly. I would be shocked if Jasper stays in 5A, but I don't have a problem moving to 6A as long as it's a competitive region. I like to see a good competitive region, and I think Jasper will get in one. They are still behind closed doors in Montgomery, by the way. We're waiting. We were supposed to have news at about 10 o'clock of this reclassification. So as soon as we get stuff coming in, we will pass that along to you. I feel like I'm doing election coverage. But
We've done that together before too.
Yeah, there's always that one box out in Sayre or somewhere, or I don't know where it's at. Or, it's always late coming back in. But got a lot of folks online joining us, so we appreciate that very much. You can chime in on the WJLX 1015 page and comment there. We'll try to answer any questions you may have. I'm monitoring that as we speak, and maybe you can share that on the Community Journal page as well. By the way, let's talk about the Community Journal and how things are going. This is a new project that you put together, and I see you guys online a lot, sharing the good news of Walker County.
Yeah, and we really do try to share the good news of Walker County. That's been one of the things that I've tried to promote more than anything is that we share mostly positive news, and we also are free for people to read, which is a different thing for our area and really for across the state. We started a little over a year ago, and we've been able to gain so far. We've got nearly 6,000 followers on our social media pages, and then we reach about 50,000 impressions per month, and that's unique devices per month to our website. And what we do is we basically cover Walker County like I always have. I feel like if people talk about news in Walker County, they need to talk about the Community Journal because they see how active we are. They see that we're out in the community, and that's something that's really important to me. I feel like this community has come across as a lifesaver to me over the last couple of years without going into a huge amount of detail. Most people know that I went through a pretty rough time as far as sickness and losing a leg and things like that, and almost wasn't here to be able to talk to you today. And I really think I am here and being able to be successful with the Community Journal because the community wrapped around me and my family and helped us to be able to survive the things that we've been through. And so a part of the Community Journal is me giving back to the community that has given to me. And I appreciate just having a little bit of time to be able to say positive things about what we're doing. And if anybody doesn't know, go to community-journal.com or go to our Facebook page, which is just the Community Journal. If you search that up, you'll find it. And we appreciate all the support, and always good to team up with Brett and WJLX as well.
Appreciate that as always, and of course
Hey,
today.
what we need to promote though is your fan vote that's going on right now.
Oh yeah, the fan vote is underway for the award ceremony. The football award ceremony is coming up January 13th. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, you need to do so. It's going to be a big night. We've got Trent Richardson coming in to be our guest speaker. Meal will be provided by Five Lobes. It's open to the public. Some folks, there's a misnomer out there that think it's just for the teams and the players. No, if you're a football fan and you love high school football, um, you are more than welcome to come and join us. It's just a big night to celebrate all of our kids and our teams and coaches and cheerleaders and bands and fans, and it's just a fun event. And the fan vote is open at WJLX1015.com, and we've gotten several thousand votes already in. And I was looking at the numbers this morning. This is a very, very tight race. Now, the fan vote does not determine the winner of each category, and that was something else that was addressed on our page. Uh, we have several different things going on how we've determined the winners. One will be the fan vote will account for a percentage. We'll have a coach's vote for all the coaches to put in their vote, and then of course the media vote, which consists of um, media from not only the radio station, but the Community Journal, the Daily Mountain Eagle, and also some television as well. So we have the media vote, which is almost complete now. We'll have a Coach of the Year. We'll have Offensive and Defensive Player of the Year, an Unsung Hero Award, and then our, of course, MVP of the area. So that'll be coming up January 13th at the Jasper Civic Center, and that starts at 6 o'clock. It'll be a lot of fun, and you can get your tickets online on Eventbrite, or just go to our Facebook page, our website, and you'll find the link there to purchase your tickets. So waiting on that big night. Can't wait for that. Trent Richardson, I think, is going to be a big draw for this area.
Yeah, I think Trent Richardson will be a really big draw. And the one thing that I like that you said is that, everyone's invited. Don't think this is just for the players who are going to win awards or for coaches or for people involved with the football programs. What you want is for people throughout the community to come out and support these student athletes and our area programs and show them the support that they deserve, as well as showing up and listening to Trent Richardson talk. I think he's going to have a great speech. I was hoping that you would name me as the guest speaker, but you didn't. So
I forgot all about that. You're my unsung hero. Anyway. You're just be my unsung hero.
I probably, my talent fee was probably more than Trent Richardson, and
that was it. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah,
that was.
But I really do. I think this is going to be a great awards night. I missed last year's. I was sick last year, and so I can't wait to come and enjoy some good food and talk about football and celebrate these local athletes.
Absolutely, looking forward to it. They are currently on the. They're still behind closed doors. I don't know what's going on as far as what they are trying to resolve in Montgomery. And anytime you have the association getting together like this, there's no telling what will happen. So I don't know what the holdup is. I don't know if it's something to do with the private schools. Is it a hang up on maybe expanding Class 7A? I wonder how much influence do you think, James, that some of these 7A schools have on this, especially when they were talking about expanding Class 7A. What do you think the Hoovers of the world and the Thompsons of the world are? Do you think they have a say in any of this?
In my experience with working with the High School Athletic Association, I don't think that they will really put too much power in the hands of those larger schools. I think the Athletic Association will make the decision that they think is best for all the local athletes, or all the athletes across the state. I don't see them having more power than anybody else, but it may be. I really think that those schools, they may not want to see it expanded. They may like having a smaller playing field. But I really feel like it needs to be expanded. It's odd to me that they get finished, their playoffs get finished before everybody else's playoffs. I think that they need to add a good number of teams, and I think it would help as you go down the list. You would see a lot more competition, and if schools are right on that line of being 6A and 7A, don't you want to be in the top? Don't you want to be competing against the best? Or do you want to be relegated? I guess we could say the same thing though about our local schools. Would Jasper want to be competing against the best that they could possibly compete against? I would say yes in some ways, but also, you want it to be fair. So what's the most fair thing to do? And from our perspective, the most fair thing to do is, hey, let's put Jasper in 5A and put them in a really competitive region. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to 6A, and we'll just have to see where we end up as far as what region goes.
Well, the thing is, and this is the case with Jasper, and it has been for quite some time, they're either going to be one of the biggest 5As in the state, or they're going to be one of the smallest 6As in the state. That's where they've always tinkered.
Right, yeah. And it's been like that for, 10 years now?
Yeah. It's been that way for quite some time. So we'll see. I believe you're right, though. I just think Jasper's way over the threshold for to stay in 5A. I would probably say they're probably 30 students over the limit, and that sounds like just a small amount. It's a small amount compared to the numbers that you're going to be seeing.
Right. Well, and I think people don't realize that a lot of these teams, it's 1, 2, 3 people can put them over. 30 is a pretty good number.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Still behind closed doors. Let's see. I want to remind you that we are streaming live, and this is, of course, brought to you by our friends at Pinnacle Bank. Local leadership, local decision making, and superior service there at Pinnacle Bank. Our friends down there. That's who I bank with there at Pinnacle Bank, and they make things happen. They make things go, and love our friends down there at Pinnacle Bank, as well as Bevel State Community College, your community college, and your story starts here at Bevel State Community College. And appreciate the Bears, and of course our friends at the Pie Factory, historic downtown Jasper. Looking for a great lunch today? Go down to the Pie Factory and enjoy a pizza pie or something, some chicken wings or a fresh salad. They have it there at the Pie Factory. Go online and register for our free lunch Friday at WJLX1015.com. Every Friday we give away lunch for your office or organization, up to 15 people. All you got to do is go in there, register up, and every Friday we go out at 11 o'clock and deliver lunch to your office. Sounds pretty good, James.
Yeah, that is pretty good. I may need to try to win that lunch. Up to 15 people. That'll feed.
You're just right there. You're talking about the threshold. Yeah, you're just right there on the edge.
Right. I haven't moved up to 7A yet, but I'm trying.
Oh, that's great. No, we're still waiting on the reclassification to come down. And when they said this may take a while, they were not lying. Because we thought we were going to get to results an hour ago. We really thought this meeting, I believe, started at 9:30, and we thought by 10 o'clock we would get some information, but nothing so far. And we're waiting.
Brett, I've spent a lot of days voting on like the Sports Writers Association's All-State and things like that. It never happens fast. It's always a slow process, and people would not, you would not understand if you haven't been in one of those rooms selecting these things, how much, and I'm sure, I don't know who all's behind the doors back there, but there's people who...
Uh-oh, I think we've lost James. He's frozen in time. We'll try to get James back here in just a second. That'll give me a chance to break away here. We need to take a break, and we will come back here in a few minutes. Like I say, got a lot of folks on the live stream. We appreciate it. We're not going to discontinue the stream. We were going to close the stream and then reopen it back up, but since everyone's already joined us here and they are online with us here now, we're not going to break away where you have to come back and find the stream again. So if you'll just bear with us, we're waiting on the results to come in. We're going to break away. You'll see the logo up on the screen. We'll come back here in just a few minutes. So stick around, and thank you, Sarah, so very much for tuning in to today's broadcast. We are in a brief break. We will come back here in just a few minutes. Reclassification going on, waiting on results in a radio break here. And we'll be back with our live video feed in just a few minutes. Stay tuned.
Your story starts at Bevel State Community College. Whether you are just starting out or starting over, Bevel State has an opportunity that is right for you. With 5 locations serving 7 counties, you don't have to go far to start your own success story. Plus, with tuition lower than 4-year colleges, you won't need to spend more for a great education. Visit us online at bscc.edu to learn about your options for seamless academic transfer and high-demand career tech and health science offerings. Let us help you tell your story.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. Brett Elmore, waiting on the 2024-2026 reclassifications as we are anticipating maybe some action from Montgomery here within the next few minutes, we hope. I was talking to someone while we took a quick break there. They believe that this North-South All-Star game may have thrown the timing off a little bit on their meeting. Apparently, they had some discussions about what had gone on over, what was it, last weekend. They had the All-Star game. So we're waiting to see what's going to happen as far as reclassification is concerned. We do know that some of the coaches and athletic directors around the Walwyn area are currently sitting around watching the TV to see where they will land as far as the region race is concerned. We mentioned, we'll hash it over again a little bit for you. We believe Jasper's probably going to move to 6A. Word that Cordova may make some movement. Curry may make some movement. Addison may make some movement. We don't think that any of the other teams will really make a classification. When I say a movement, I mean a classification move from one classification to another, whether it be up or down. We really don't know. We will wait and see. I believe Jasper is going to have the numbers to go back to 6A. There is a potential that Cordova could be moving to 5A, Curry moving down to 3A, Addison moving up to 2A. You hardly ever see teams go down really that often. It seems like they're always moving up in classification, but if the numbers are correct, that is the smallest enrollment Curry High School's had in what, 20 years, 30 years. When I was in school, we were 5A, and that was back in 2001. So if they're a 3A size school now, that kind of surprises me because they were one of the largest schools in the county, along with Walker at the time. It was Walker and Curry than everyone else, but now it seems like I don't know if they're losing kids to some of these other schools. Obviously, that's the case. I know some of the athletes have moved to some of the Winston County schools, are transferred to other schools in the county. But for Curry to be a Class 3A would kind of surprise me a little bit. And let me look up exactly the last time Curry was in a situation like that. Of course, this is all speculation at this point, but if they do make the move down, that would kind of surprise me a little bit. Of course, they competed this past year. They went 1-9 overall, and they beat Vina 61-14. Let's see here. See if I can pull up their classifications by year. Like I say, it's had to be, I know they were 4A for quite some time there in the 90s, but I don't know if I've ever, I can't remember the last time they were a 3A. Someone may be able to help me out with that. Someone that knows better than I do. You can hit me on the Facebook and let me know, because I really can't remember that far back. But of course, those were different times too. You were in areas. You were not in regions at that time, and your area may consist of 4 teams. So different times, and of course, you didn't have a 7A then as well. But that also furthers my point of the enrollment factor. If we've added a 7A, when we only had 6 classifications for so long, and Curry moves down to 3A, I would love to know what the enrollment numbers are at Curry High School right now. See, like back in 1985, I was going back to 85, they were in Class 5A. And that was out of 6 classifications. Let's move back to 1980 and see where they were. .3A. Okay. So if they do make the move down to 3A, it'll be the first time in my lifetime, literally. Coach Danny Gambrell was there. How about that? Back in 1980. Of course, former coach at Walker and principal at Walker High School. He coached there at Curry for a few seasons, and I actually did fairly well there at Curry. But yeah, that's the last time Curry was in Class 3A. But like we mentioned, we're only speculating here. See, they were in there from 83. Yeah, 84 is when they made the move to 5A. So they skipped totally 4A, and went to 2 classifications up to 5A. All right, let's take a look at, Cordova was one of those teams, too, that we were interested in. The Blue Devils struggled this past season. They competed in 4A Region 5. And 2-8 record, and that's something that the folks in Cordova, they just, it's unacceptable for the folks in Cordova. They have a winning pride, but lost some tough ones. That Northside game, I think, was a backbreaker. That one was tough. And let's see, do we have James back yet? Is James back? Okay, he is back. So let me. Sorry, I was in the middle of ranting and raving without even paying attention to what I was doing. Let me get your audio back up, and and pull you back in with us here. All right, let's see. Are you with me?
I'm with you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah. You have to plug
Yeah,
up.
you were doing a great job of rambling there.
Well, I can do it from time to time.
You were in the hospital a few days ago. I was afraid that maybe, you still weren't over the illness and you're just rambling like an old guy on there.
Yeah. I'm just an old man rambling. No, yeah, I was going stir crazy is what it was, and I really thought I was going crazy. I had to, I had to talk to someone, instead of talking to myself. But I can do it though. That's the thing. James Phillips with the Community Journal with us. I don't know how long this is going to take, James. I didn't know we were going to be in this for 2 hours. I thought we were going to be in and out of here when I roped you into maybe helping me with this, but.
You didn't tell me to pack a lunch or anything.
Right, yeah, really, I'm getting hungry, and the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star game, they say, may have something to do. They were taking care of some business with that. Alabama won, by the way, 26-17 over Mississippi in the All-Star game. They were showing some highlights there on OTM of that game. But, no, I was talking about Curry. Would you agree? I mean, how many kids are at Curry now? If what you had heard was true, if they're moving down to 3A, their enrollment must be way down.
Yeah, I think it's steadily declined over the last 10, 15 years. When we were in school, Curry was 5A. Then I think they went down to 4A, and they kind of stayed at 4A and that's where they've been. But I know they were in 5A when I was at Dora back in the mid 90s.
Yeah. And I remember when I was in school, of course, a lot of folks think that I went to Walker because of my ties there, but no, I went to Curry. Graduated from Curry. And when we were there, it was 5A, and we were in the same region as Walker. That's another thing too, and we'll get into this while we have some time, as they're showing the illustrious central board members here on TV. These are the ones responsible for us staying on as long as we're staying on. Natural rivalries, I think, is one thing that we need to get back to. And we mentioned this during Media Day. I would love to see some more inter-county games. Some of these smaller schools are doing it, and they still do it. But some of the larger schools like Jasper, Dora, those two teams need to meet on the gridiron.
Yeah, I think so. I think Jasper and Dora need to play every year. It's a competitive game most years. It's a huge gate for both schools. It brings in a lot of money, and it's very interesting for the fans. And then, if you look as well, it'd be great to have. I'd love to see Jasper and Cordova play each other. They're close enough to the same size now, and both have a long history in high school football. I think that'd be a great matchup to see.
Yeah, I just don't see any purpose, and of course I've been vocal about it. And when you schedule a team like, I'm just going to throw somebody out there, like a Winona, okay?
Right.
You're not going to get the gate that you're going to have if you're playing a Dora or a Cordova. Could you imagine if Jasper and Dora were to play like on a Thursday night? How many people would be at that ball game?
Oh yeah, I mean it'd be the entire county would be there. It'd look like the Christmas parade the other night downtown.
Yeah, it would. So I think we need to get back to that, and the schools need to get together and kind of hash out why we're not making this happen.
Yeah, I know Dora and Jasper played. They were in the same region a few years ago. And that's the last time we saw them play. I think there was some sort of issue that popped up, and I don't know if it was between coaches or between programs or what, but I know there was a couple of little issues that popped up. But there's fresh faces at those places now, and I think we should be able to get that together and see those teams play each other. It's a lot of fun. I mean, even going back to when we were in high school, Dora and Jasper played every year. Dora and Walker played every year, and there were some great games. I mean, Jasper would hand it to them sometimes, but then there would be that year every 2 or 3 years that Dora would really show up and take care of them. And that's a huge win anytime a county school can beat a school like Jasper. I think it's really similar to seeing Jasper and Coleman playing each other. You don't ever want to see that one go away again. So I'd love to see Jasper and Dora. And then, you mentioned our smaller schools, and especially like the Winston County schools, they do a great job of trying to play each other every year, even if it has to be in a jamboree or something. They get in there and fight, and I think they still call a county championship, don't they?
I think so. They do a lot of stuff up there that we don't do here in Walker County.
Right. I don't know if we need to get into all that.
Yeah. They need to hurry up with these results because we're going to go down a rabbit hole that we don't even want to go down. No, yeah, you're right.
This may be good though. We may start a morning show just from sitting through this if we really get crazy here in the next little bit.
That's right. But no, they do a good job of playing one another. I like how Oakman and Curry they play. I like that. Of course, you still have a lot of the rivalries with Cordova-Doran and all that still going on. But, I'm talking about, even Jasper, there's no reason I don't think, they should be playing someone from, even when they scheduled Mars Hill or whatever, that's a great program. It's a tough game. It's a tough opener. But still, you're not going to have the gate you're going to have, even if you're playing a smaller county school. Those fans are going to show up, and they're going to be there to beat the city boys.
Yeah, well, I think about the only time you're really going to get a big crowd when you're playing a school that's not close by is like when Jasper scheduled Central Clay.
Yeah,
That's a team that's going to travel well because they win championships every year.
Yeah.
But those are very few and far between. Like you look at when Jasper hosted, was it Jess Lanier this year?
Bessemer City, you think? Or not Jess Lanier. Jess Lanier's closed.
The Poets, whoever the Poets
Oh,
were
Sidney Lanier.
Sidney Lanier.
Yeah,
like
okay.
they didn't, they had about 5 fans over there.
Yeah. I mean, who wants to see Jasper play Sidney Lanier? I mean, I talked to the team, but Coach had me talk to the team the week before that game as one of their guest speakers, and I said, it would be very hard for me to talk to a team that was called the Poets and try to make them sound, big and bad.
Right.
We are the Vikings, and we got to go out there and play like Vikings, But Sidney Lanier, yeah, that's a school that I'd heard was going to shut down, but I don't know if they're going to or not.
Right, yeah. And honestly, I thought they had shut down before they came here this year. I thought they'd shut down like 4, 5, 6 years ago.
Yeah, I did too. Trying to find out where they are on all this as far as they're still behind closed doors, and we will, of course, come to this whenever they.
Do we have anybody that we could put in a car and have them go knock on the door?
That would be, that'd be money right there.
Yeah. What if could we get Brian Hale to run down there?
Yeah, I was Brian. Brian,
he's the type that he would knock in that door.
He would. Brian's on vacation, and Brian's pretty much he is retired.
Yeah, I know. He said he was going to be retiring, and that's awesome. I hope he really enjoys retirement.
Yeah, he's having a few issues, some health issues, and it's kind of putting him kind of on the back burner, but hopefully he's still going to help from time to time, and who knows what the future holds. But no, we appreciate Brian. He's here, but he's not. He's on vacation with his family right now, but he is helping me with the banquet and stuff, and
See, if he was in town, though, he's definitely the type of personality. We could just send him Montgomery, and he'd knock that door in.
Yeah, the man on the
I've,
scene.
I've had enough. Brian and I have been friends for a long time now, and so I've seen him a few times shake a few doors and get things done.
Yeah, he's not scared to do that. That's for sure. Uh, let's see. I was looking at some of the comments on our page. Once again, appreciate everybody tuning in, and I know it's frustrating. We want to get the results and see where everybody's moving to, but we're under the mercy of the Alabama High School Athletic Association, and we're just kind of waiting on them. James Phillips from the Community Journal joins us though, and what's new on the Community Journal page?
We'll have several things being posted today. I've got several kind of Christmassy type stories, positive things that have been going on around the county. One that I can mention is Honda of Jasper and Hyundai of Jasper. They do a giveaway each year. They go to basically pre-K or Head Start students and give Christmas presents and bicycles. And there's always a visit from Santa Claus. This Santa Claus looks a lot like Kevin Callahan, the owner of Honda of Jasper. I've been told that it is not him, but that they do look very similar. Kevin enjoys helping Santa out. It was a neat thing. I went to Summerton the other day and was able to see him and his staff give gifts away, and they gave breakfast away to preschool kids and to their parents. And then I have another one on Summerton Middle School. Their teachers and some churches that are involved with them, they were able to give 65 students Christmas gifts and some different other things like some toothbrushes and toothpaste and things like that over last week. And I'll have a story on that. What normally happens in Summerton is that Toys for Tots is ran by their fire department, which they had their giveaway over the weekend at Walmart in Summerton, but they only reach a certain age group. So a lot of those kids who the Toys for Tots reach, they have siblings who are at the middle school. And so that's where these teachers and people stepped up and gave presents to those siblings and even reached out to some that have siblings at Dora High School. So I thought that was a really cool thing. We'll have that story posted later today. And then just, we've got coverage of all of our different meetings. We go to all the city council meetings and try to keep people abreast on things that are going on. But those are a couple of the positive things that we have coming out today, actually, later this afternoon.
Sounds good. You can find that online, of course, on Facebook and their website, the Community Journal. We are streaming. Sebastian has actually chimed in. He is another.
Do we want to hear from Sebastian?
Do we want to hear from Sebastian? Of course, we always want to hear from Sebastian. He's another that has been at the radio station for several years, but he has moved to South Alabama, and he is no longer with us as well. I'm losing everybody apparently, but
you may be the issue.
Yeah, I'm probably the issue. But no, he wants to know our thoughts on some of the rumors about some teams moving up and some teams moving down. We've seen some teams struggle, so could this be a boost of confidence for those programs? Yeah, you could look at it either way, I think, James, right?
Yeah, I think that's what we've kind of talked about, and it could go either way depending on where teams go. We mentioned Curry. Do they drop to 3A? That makes them a lot more competitive in a 3A region than in a 4A region. We mentioned Cordova. Does Cordova stay at 4A or do they go up to 5A? That's a question mark. I think we'll see Dora, Oakman, Carbon Hill, the Winston County teams. They'll all mostly stay where they're at. We talked about Addison may jump up to 2A. They're kind of used to playing there, so I don't think that affects them a lot. I think Jasper's the one that we get asked the most questions about. I remember at the beginning of this football season, people were talking about, well, next year will probably be 6A again. So that's been on people's minds even throughout this year. And I think we're playing the waiting game to see where people go to be able to say, hey, this helps them or this hurts them.
Yeah. Obviously moving down to 3A would be huge for Curry, but as far as being competitive, but where would they end up? You think if they did move down to 3A, would that put them somewhere with maybe like an Oakman as a region opponent?
That's what I was thinking. I mean, if they moved down to 3A, it would make a lot of sense to have Oakman and Carbon Hill and Curry in the same region.
Yeah, and then you could probably throw in maybe a Winfield.
Right.
That would be strong over there. Maybe Fayette County. I know that probably Coach Hall, if he's watching, would probably like to steer clear of Gordo this year.
Yeah, I would think anybody would want to steer clear of Gordo when at all possible.
Man, Gordo has been good for so long. I remember as a kid growing up, hearing Dad and Woody talk about Gordo, the Green Wave. I think Jasper used to play them a lot.
When you think about teams in that area, you think about Gordo, you think about Pickens County. Both of those schools have been good for as long as I can remember.
Yeah. Well, going back to this past season, any surprises to you as far as the way the season ended? I thought Dora probably had a really good chance to go far, and they kind of got cut short a little bit. Lynn, I think, that game that they played there, the final game of the year, I said the winner of this game is going to represent the North, I thought, and I think that was the case.
Yeah, Lynn, I guess it was some forfeits that happened that really put them in a strange situation of playing that team in the second round instead of maybe in the semifinals or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dora, it was really disappointing to see them lose to a 4 seed. I felt like they had the talent and the ability to be able to make it, 3 or 4 rounds deep in the playoffs. And we just didn't get to see that. Hopefully they'll rally again next year and be back in that type of position. But you don't get those chances very often. So that was and then you talk about Oakman. I felt like Coach Hall did a really good job there, taking them from 3-7 the year before to 7-3 in the regular season, and then losing in the first round to a juggernaut like Mars Hill. Mars Hill is going to beat a lot of people. And it seems like Oakman always ends up pulling that 1-2 seed, whether it's Piedmont or Mars Hill or somebody along those lines that, go on and make a run towards a state title.
Yeah, we were talking about the Lynn Bears. They lost to Coosa Christian 28-6 in that final game of the season. And yeah, you were talking about the forfeits. Coosa was the team that got into a little bit of hot water about playing, I think, an ineligible player or something like that. And they turned around. They're the Conquerors. They lost their first game 26-0. Then they had to forfeit like 4 games in a row or 5 games in a row or something like that. And then they come back and played Cedar Bluff. They got back finally into action on October 13th, where they reeled off 4 straight wins. But the way they did it was, and once again, this goes back to a private school. And the reason why I have a problem with private schools competing with the public schools, they turned around and they beat Cedar Bluff, which they say was responsible for turning them in, 94-7. That doesn't seem too Christian-like to me.
No, it's not. But it's a lot like.
And he said, and he said, the coach after the game said, "I wish we could have hung 100 on him."
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I think about that attitude. When it comes to football, I'm not going to hold a Christian school in any other standing as I do anybody else because they're all trying to win. It's kind of like when Steve Spurrier was at Florida, and he would just run points up on people, and people didn't like it. And it's a if you don't like it, stop it type of mentality.
Sure, yeah, but I mean, this is high school football. I mean, I didn't agree with that. I didn't like it. But yeah, you got to line up and beat them. But
But at some point, you do need a little bit of class to say, "Hey guys, I think we've got this one under control. Let's kind of put it in cruise control."
Right, and then the other games that they competed in there at the very end, they beat Appalachia 51-0 and Woodville 51-0, and then they beat Victory Christian 49-0. Then they beat Spring Garden 28-0 in the first round of the playoffs. Then that's when they met Lynn, and Lynn was hoping that they would face them in the semifinals, and that was where they were really going to meet them at before all this happened with that program. But anyway, water under the bridge. Talk about the job Coach Hastings has done at Lynn.
I think he's done an incredible job. Lynn's one of those places where they kind of just keep going. It's a place where people have been able to win, and I don't really know how. It's interesting to see. It's such a small school, but I think Coach Hastings has done a great job. I love going to Lynn. I've told people for years that it's probably my favorite small school atmosphere to go watch a game because you've got the fans are so into it, and then the train passes by about 3 times during the game, and then you've got the folks on the hill across the train tracks shooting fireworks every time Lynn scores. It's an atmosphere like no other, and I really enjoy it.
That's the great thing about small town Alabama and football, and one of the reasons why I like the Super 7. I don't have a problem with it being played at Cairo Gambrell Field. Yeah, that's where the Super 7
I'd love for it to be played at Cairo.
Yeah, but Bryant-Denny Stadium and Jordan-Hare, and then Protective Stadium in Birmingham. Protective is probably the best stadium, I think, for this, size-wise. But I really loved when you had the championship games on site at a school. It made it more intimate. It was the crowd didn't get swallowed up by these big stadiums. And I know it's a thrill to play at Bryant-Denny Stadium or Jordan-Hare or whatever for these kids, but I always liked it better when it was going to be a home game for someone. You think back to the mid-'90s in Cordova when they won in the mud there at Hudson Kirby.
Yeah, oh yeah. Even when the championship games were at Legion Field, the stadium swallowed the crowds. And it's not a good atmosphere. I understand the kids getting the joy of playing on one of those stadiums or inside one of those stadiums, but I really do think for a high school football championship, it would mean so much more to be in a smaller atmosphere, especially on campus at different schools. One thing that I like that Mississippi did when I was living there, they have jamborees at the colleges, like at Oxford and in Starkville, and high school teams will go and they'll have like an all-day jamboree type thing where they'll have maybe 8 jamborees in one day, and the schools get to play there. So that gets their kids in those stadiums, and that was a neat thing.
Yeah, I like playing in those large stadiums. Of course, Jasper went over and played Ramsey at Legion Field 2 years ago, and it's a thrill even for a broadcaster to go to Legion Field to do a ball game, even though you're worried for your life getting there and getting out of there, and worried if your car is going to be out in the parking lot when you leave. And that's just the honest truth. You think I'm joking around or something like that, and a part of me kind of is, and part of me isn't. But when we left Legion Field that night, we didn't even get to College Hill before we saw a sea of cops, and they rerouted us through this neighborhood, and was not the very best neighborhood, obviously, in Birmingham, and we couldn't find our way out of there. And we come up on this crime scene tape, and you should have seen Woody. I think
I was going to say, was this you and Woody? Because
Yeah.
I can only imagine Woody's eyes.
Oh yeah, he was panicking, and I was too a little bit, and
Yeah.
but no, I got home finally and turned on the news, and there was like a shooting that happened right there by the stadium, and I'm like, good grief, and that's one thing that I think Jasper is wanting to get away from that because they have spent so much money on police escorts
Right.
during all this because of the safety and concern about our students going over there and playing. Let's face it, Birmingham is a dangerous city. If you don't believe me, sit and watch the news every night. There's a shooting there every night.
Right.
Jeez.
It's an every night thing. And I'm just glad you had Woody with you for protection.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. Thanks, Wood. Yeah.
We could share quite a few. I could share a lot of Woody and Johnny stories on the road.
Yeah. Tales from the road. We need to start writing books about this stuff. Been through a lot, but James Phillips joins me here. I'm Brett Elmore from WJLX. James Phillips from the Community Journal, joining us as we await the regions. Please come out with the regions where we'll have this some more to talk about here. But I've enjoyed.
We're still waiting on we're waiting on that Nauvoo box to come in.
Yeah. It's sort of like election night where James and I have been several times, and Ed Howell and some of us, just all sitting around, and there's this one box somewhere that has always been mysteriously lost. And I'd look at Ed, and he said, they must have stopped and got dinner somewhere before they brought the box back over here. And I said, yeah, Ed, probably right. But no, it seems like we're waiting on something. The association came out at about 10 o'clock and said this may take a while. But they've had plenty of time to hash over this. We don't know what the holdup is, which the last time, James, you remember they reclassified a couple years ago. They had some problems even after they released the classifications. They had left some schools out, or something happened, and some schools got moved and bumped.
Yeah,
again.
I do. I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
So maybe they're trying to get it right this time before they release all the information. But they're holding everyone up though, trying to get this info out as soon as it is released. But no, I've enjoyed catching up with you. Obviously, it's much better to be here than in the hospital. A lot of folks know I was in the hospital last week, and that was an adventure to say the least.
Yeah,
I'm glad to be back.
I came by and saw you for a minute. Do you even remember that I walked in?
I do remember. Now, I'm sorry. I apologize. You and my friend Jonathan Timmons both came in that day, and that was the day that I actually, I don't know if they gave me something to sleep or something, but I was pretty groggy. But I do remember y'all coming by, and I appreciate that because, man, I tell you, there's a lot of sick folks in the hospital right now that need our prayers, and COVID's going around, and the flu's really bad right now. It was pretty scary on that hall. I was in intermediate care, and pretty scary.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a tough time, especially the holidays with people being sick, and I know how that feels. It's you get tired of just staring at those four walls of a hospital room sometimes.
Yeah, they come crashing in.
And I saw your live video about the television. The television during the day is not the greatest thing in the world either.
No, it's terrible. Look it on our Facebook page. Air Alabama. Appreciate the Air Alabama. Man, they have some great drone shots and stuff like that. They commented, sounds like a great podcast idea. Tales from the Road with Brett and James.
I think that would be a good one. Air Alabama, that's our buddy Jared Aaron, who's the ag teacher in Cordova. And he does a great job with Air Alabama, and I use a lot of his aerial shots on the Community Journal sometimes. And he also is good for a dad joke here and there on his personal page.
Yeah, he and I went to school together at Curry. He was
Okay.
a grade ahead of me. I think he was a grade ahead of me. And we had ag together. I was not, as you could probably tell, I'm not probably the most ag oriented person, but it was better than home ec.
Right. Yeah, I can see that.
But no, Jared's a great guy, and we appreciate Air Alabama and the work that he does. If you haven't followed his page, by the way, his YouTube channel and all that, just look up Air Alabama, and he posts some great shots of stuff with his drone. I need to get with him on a couple things I had an idea on. So anyway, I'll get with you. Get with you, Jared. Still behind closed doors, folks. So that's where we are. What are you?
Sorry.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. I was wondering what you were doing.
I had a screen to pop up, and I don't know where it came from. And then I had a dog walk behind me, so I was being distracted there. The ADHD kicked in for a second.
That's okay. We did not plan this color coordination as well. I do want to
No, we
put
didn't.
that out there.
I told my wife Andrea that I feel like I look like a hipster Santa Claus in this outfit. I don't know.
You do have sort of that look. Yeah, Jared said, yeah, he is older than I am, sad to say. Yeah, I look like I'm about 500 years old. He's aged better than I have, I think.
Yeah. Well, I would like to say that I'm only 45, but I get confused for 60, 65 a lot of times.
You're only 45.
Yeah.
You're 5 years. You're 5 years
It's
older.
been a
than I am.
rough. It's been a rough few years, you know. So
Tell
I've
me
aged
about
a
it.
lot.
T-
And I've
t-
got 5 kids.
No wonder you look the way you do.
Right.
No. Tell me about it. Look what radio has done to me. It's fun. But no, we're waiting. That would be that's what we need to do. We need to do a podcast together. I've been wanting to do some podcasts. I'm actually helping. Today I'll be on not a podcast per se, but I'll be on the Bama Tailgate channel this evening with the Nick Saban interview with my friend Mick Gillespie. If y'all haven't checked out Bama
cool.
Tailgate show, do that on Facebook, YouTube. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube. He's got a strong following there, and I was talking to Mick this morning before we jumped on the air here. But it's a great show. If you're an Alabama football fan, you want to subscribe to that because he's got some killer content every day.
I'll have to check that out because I haven't seen it.
Okay. We're going to break away here because we're still waiting on the results from the association. James probably needs a break, and I do too. The medicine's kicking in, so
Yeah.
yeah. So we're going to take a quick break, folks. We're not shutting the stream down. Just stay up with us, and we'll be back here in just a few minutes, and hopefully we'll start having some news for you. Everyone's excited about the reclassification. We appreciate you folks tuning in. James Phillips with the Community Journal. I'm Brett Elmore from WJLX, and this is presented by Pinnacle Bank, Bevel State Community College, and the Pie Factory in historic downtown Jasper. We'll be back in just a moment.
Your story starts at Bevel State Community College. Whether you are just starting out or starting over, Bevel State has an opportunity that is right for you. With 5 locations serving 7 counties, you don't have to go far to start your own success story. Plus, with tuition lower than 4-year colleges, you won't need to spend more for a great education. Visit us online at bscc.edu to learn about your options for seamless academic transfer and high-demand career tech and health science offerings. Let us help you tell your story.
Welcome back in, everybody. Brett Elmore. Have flying around here. We are patiently awaiting the reclassifications from the Alabama High School Athletic Association. We're told that we're going to have something hopefully very shortly. So appreciate you sticking around with us here on the stream and trying to get some more information on why it's taking so long for them to get this set, because they have been behind closed doors now for 2.5 hours. And James Phillips from the Community Journal joining us as well, and he'll be back in just a minute. He is on a quick break, and he'll be back with us here in just a couple of minutes. All right, got all that set, and now what we announce here this afternoon, as we are in the afternoon hour now, 12:01, what we announce here as far as classifications are concerned will not affect anything coming up in the spring. Do want to mention that. So your baseball season, your softball season, all that stuff coming up in the spring, this has nothing to do. This has nothing to do with the spring sports. All of this will take effect coming up when the school year starts in the fall. So with football, volleyball, all that stuff, when that cranks back up in the fall, that is what this reclassification, that's when it will take effect. So once again, we're just awaiting them to release everything to the public, and we can go ahead and take a look at all 11 teams from around the Walwyn area: Jasper, Dora, Summit and Christian, Cordova. We'll talk about the Oakman Wildcats. We'll talk about Carbon Hill, Curry, Winston County, Addison, Meek, and Lynn. It's amazing that I can always keep these teams on the top of my head. We cover 11 teams here in the Walwyn, and always enjoy doing that, and look forward to another high school football season coming up in the fall. Of course, we got basketball going on now. We have some really good teams in the Walwyn as far as basketball is concerned. And we're going to have a big tournament coming up. I say it's a tournament, it's more a Christmas Classic, starting tomorrow at the Carl Cannon Coliseum on the campus of Jasper High School. There are teams coming from all over the South. It is a basketball showcase that college coaches will be at. There's a lot of recruits that's coming in, highly touted teams, state championship caliber teams. It's going to be a lot of fun the next 2 days. If you're looking for something to do, I know a lot of you you may be already off work for the holiday. Tis the season on the 18th here of December. A lot of us are still working this week, but if you're looking for something to do, go out to the Coliseum and check out some basketball. There's some quality games. That place will be packed. It'll be the place to be here the next 2 days. So looking forward to going out there and checking out some of that action. I think Jasper plays at 3 o'clock each day. They'll have a different opponent each night. Let's see, I don't have the time. I believe it's 3 o'clock. But they'll play Florence, Mississippi tomorrow afternoon, and they will play Fayette County, Georgia. That'll be Wednesday afternoon. So that's 2 games that we have tomorrow for Jasper. They'll play 1 game per day. I believe then next week the team will hit the road and go to Gatlinburg for our Pigeon Forge for the King of the Smokies tournament. I believe that's still on, so we'll have that for you as well next week. We won't have it on the radio. I wish we were able to go, but that would have been a nice tournament to go to. But too much going on next week, including, want to mention football time is still here. College football bowl season is here, and Auburn and Maryland in the bowl game there at the Music City Bowl. That is coming up a week from Saturday, and our coverage will start at 10 a.m. on our sister station, Country Legends 88.5 WJBE. We'll also have Tiger Talk on Friday night, the 29th, live from Broadway in Nashville, Tennessee, 7:30. If you're an Auburn fan and you're going to go to the ball game and you're going to be spending the night on Friday night, which I'm sure many of you are, you'll want to go to, what's the name of that place? It's one of the bigger establishments there on Broadway. That's where they'll be having Tiger Talk at 7:30. So you'll want to check out that show as you're up and down Broadway. I was thinking about going to the game myself. I thought about riding up to Nashville and taking it in. I've never been to the Music City Bowl, and that'd be a good one to go to. I'd also love to go to the Rose Bowl too, but I get the old saying. But the Alabama game will be on WJLX. We'll have all the coverage on 101.5 of the Rose Bowl. Our coverage will start at 10 a.m., I believe. Or is it 11? 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning, we'll have the Bama Tailgate Show with Mick Gillespie on for 2 hours. Then we'll join the Crimson Tide Sports Network for their coverage of the Rose Bowl. We'll have the game for you. And then hopefully we'll have the National Championship game the week after. So a lot of football coming up still. And we'll have all the action for you. We've got some basketball coming up for you on radio as well. Just be looking for that. But yeah, we don't have results yet from the association. Let me refresh my stuff here. And okay. We're just playing the waiting game right now. James Phillips will be joining me again here in just a little bit. He's taking a break. As what we understand is the holdup is we have, and we talked about this earlier in the show, we have more private schools going to be joining the AHSAA. They're going to be moving out of the, what do they call it, the AISA, and moving into, they've asked for membership to the Alabama High School Athletic Association. So that means another influx of private schools. We've been talking about private schools, and I've made it very clear about how I feel about the private schools playing the public schools in competitive sports, just because I don't think it's a very level playing field. And that needs to be something to be addressed. And I don't know if this is the way to do it or not, but they're moving in a lot of private schools. And now their conundrum is, where are we going to put these schools? Which classification will they need to go in? What region will they need to go in? Who's going to be bumped because of this influx of private schools joining? And that may be one of the reasons why some of these teams in our area that we've been talking about are moving up in classification, because they're going to be bumped up because of this influx of private schools moving in to the Alabama High School Athletic Association. So that's going to be the issue that I believe we are facing here in Montgomery. And we do have the regions now. Here we go. We're going to start in Class 1A. Nothing yet for our local teams. The South Region, Region 1. Sweetwater, Southern Choctaw, Leroy, Millery, Fruitdale, McIntosh, Marengo, and J.F. Shields. Of course, does it affect us? It's a lot of South Alabama schools. Let me see if I can get a little bit of audio here and hear what they're saying.
And I think it's 22-game winning streak right now at Leroy there from a football standpoint.
And God bless him for representing our country.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Really, really cool story there from Leroy. So you got your defending 1A champs, back-to-back defending 1A champs sitting right there in Region 1. But they're going to have their work cut out with them with a couple of those teams. Milry has been very good here over the last couple.
All right, yeah. Just wanted to make sure we're not rehashing some of the stuff that we have already been through. But no, the regions have been released, and we will get them as soon as they can put them on the screen here. James Phillips will be joining us here in just a second from the Community Journal. So we're going to start in 1A and work our way up. So the drama,
I'm back.
We'll build. You are back, and let me pull you in here. There's James.
Looking as good as ever, right there.
Looking as good as ever. Of course, today's show brought to you by Pinnacle Bank, Bevel State Community College, and the Pie Factory. No, they have just started to release our regions. This is still going to be kind of a slow process as they get everybody typed into their screen. We're in 1A Region 1 right now with the defending state champions in that region, by the way. And now we're at Region 2, where you have Georgiana, McKenzie, Florala, Red Level, Brantley, Elba, Pleasant Home, and Kinston High School. No, during the break, James, and we were talking about this, at least I was, before you came back. Apparently the delay was, and it's something we've been talking about since we came on the air, was an influx of private schools making the move and the transition from the AHSAA, and they have asked for membership into the Alabama High School Athletic Association. So they had to come up with a plan of where do you put these teams, not only in classification, but what region. And then that is going to be the reason why you're going to have an influx of teams that's going to bump people up, like a Jasper and possibly a Cordova, an Addison, somebody like that. So that's sort of like they just pulled up Region 3 here. University Charter School is in Region 3 now. Who is that?
Right. I've never heard of them, but I think we may see a whole region of a lot of these type schools, because I know I guess it's more in South Alabama. There's a lot of those schools. I remember when Summerton Christian was in the AISA and I had to go cover games. It'd be a 3-hour drive to get to some of these places, especially in the Black Belt. There are a lot of the Christian schools that are joining now.
Yeah. Well, they have released Region 4 now. We're starting to get everything pretty hot and heavy now, James. So, Autauga Academy's in there. Keith High School, Verbena, Billingsley, Maplesville, oh boy, not Autauga, Taugaville, Elwood Christian Academy, wherever Elwood Christian Academy is. But, man, you see a name like Billingsley and Maplesville in the same region, boy, you know that's going to be tougher than nails.
Right, and not Autauga. They've had some good teams over the last 10, 15 years.
All right, here's our local teams. Region 5, South Lamar, Pickens County, Berry, Marion County, Brilliant, Summerton Christian, Lynn, and Hubbardville.
Wow, that's an interesting region there.
That is an interesting region.
Lynn's going to have a lot of competition.
Yeah, they are. Lynn, Summerton Christian, Brilliant, Marion County, Hubbardville, Berry, Pickens County, and South Lamar. That is Region 5. I'm sorry, I had to take a picture of this where I could make sure that I could come back to it working without a net here. Region 6, nobody in the local area there. Donahoe, Wadley, Fayetteville, Victory Christian, Winterboro, Woodland, and Talladega County Central.
I think that tells me that Addison moved up to 2A.
Yeah. I think there's pretty much that kind of tells the story, doesn't it? We'll await Region 7 here in Class 1A. No, Addison is still going to be in 1A.
Okay.
Addison will be in Region 7 with Meek, Waterloo, Vina, Shoals Christian, Hackleburg, Phillips, and Cherokee. Your thoughts?
Hey, that's interesting. You keep Addison and Meek together, let those teams keep that rivalry going, and then you've got some pretty good teams to mix in there. I don't know as much about those schools as I do the schools that are in the region with Lynn. We're a little more familiar with the Marion counties and Berries and Pickens County. But seeing some of these teams from the north, it could be interesting to see where Addison and Meek falls in that region. It seems to me like they should be towards the top of it.
Yeah, you'd think so. Region 8, Galesville, Appalachian, Ider, Woodville, Springville, etc. Now we move into Class 2A. And this is all in the south, so we will kind of wait as we're finally getting these results, man. I tell you, this is I didn't know I was going to hold you this long. I owe you lunch or something.
Yeah, I think you definitely owe me lunch.
2A, we're starting to get things fast now here in Region 2. Still South Alabama schools like Providence Christian, G.W. Long, Sampson, Ayrton, Houston County, Geneva, Abbeville, and Cottonwood.
And I guess we probably expect to only see in 2A now probably Winston County.
Region 3 still there in South Alabama, Barber County, Highland Home, Goshen, Laverne, Zion Chapel, Pike Liberal Arts, and Calhoun. We appreciate everybody sticking around with us as we've been getting all of the regions finally released at about 5 minutes ago. And we are finding out as everyone else. So we'll have some feedback on this, I'm sure, from some of the schools a little bit later on. We'll probably do another show like this later on and have some of the coaches on maybe later tonight or tomorrow. So we'll get some feedback from some of the coaches and stuff. And now we're at Region 4, and we're starting to move, about to move into the north, and we'll see. Do you say Winston County, are they 2A?
Yeah, I think they're 2A. So I think
Yeah, that's
we'll
right.
see Winston County. And that's probably the only local school that we'll have in 2A.
Yeah. Region 5, Lamar County, Greene County, Tuscaloosa Academy, Vincent Middle High School, Isabella, Aliceville, and Sulligent.
I think there's going to be several high schools that we've never even heard of that come across.
Region 6, Coosa Christian, Falkville, Southeastern, Cleveland, Cold Springs, Susan Moore, and West End. So that's Region 6 in Class 2A.
Let's see if Winston County comes in Region 7. That'd be similar to Addison and Meek.
No Winston County yet. Region 7, Pisgah, North Sand Mountain, Pleasant Valley High School, Section, Sandrock, Gaston, and Cedar Bluff. I have just received a message from a pretty good source in Huntsville that Jasper's going to be moving to 6A Region 7, which will be the Coleman and the Hartsvilles of the world. But we'll await official word. Winston County is in Region 8, James, with Lexington, Tanner, Red Bay, Bell Green, Tharptown, Decatur Heritage, and Winston County.
That's a tough region. Decatur Heritage is always good. Tharptown's good. I think we'll see Winston County competitive in that region, though.
All right, we move on to 3A, and we're in the south right now. Let me check and see.
We should see around about Region 5 or so. We should see Carbon Hill and Oakman, I would think.
They're at Region 2 now. I'm trying to check my source here. Slocum, Wicksburg, Houston Academy, Northside Methodist, Alabama Christian, all in that region. Still in the South in Class 3A. Wilcox Central, Dallas County, Sumter Central, Thomasville, Greensboro, Thorsby, Prattville Christian, and so on. Region 4 now, B.B. Comer, Childersburg, Dadeville, Randolph County, Lee Scott Academy, Beulah, and Glenwood School. We're in Class 3A. Waiting to see the northern teams now. James Phillips from the Community Journal joining me here today. I'm keeping him from all of his work.
Sometimes I look for excuses, though.
I figured you probably did. That's why I called you. I said he'll come on the show with me. All right, here we go, folks. 3A Region 5. Carbon Hill, Oakman, Gordo, Midfield, Phil Campbell, Hale County, Vinemont, and Hanceville.
That's interesting. And, no Winfield there.
Yeah, no Winfield. That is intriguing. So Carbon Hill, Oakman, Gordo, Midfield, Phil Campbell, Hale County, Vinemont, and Hanceville, all in Region 5. Region 6, nobody local in there. I apologize.
You got to think Coach Ryan Hall's probably happy about that to see Winfield leave the region.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm getting word that Jasper will be in Region 7 with Athens, Hartselle, Coleman, Decatur, Columbia, and Muscle Shoals. Good grief.
There's not an easy region in 6A anywhere. I think the Tuscaloosa region would have been easier.
Tuscaloosa region would have been a whole lot easier. Now, this is not official, but this is from my source in Huntsville, who apparently has gotten all this ahead of time.
They could be just making stuff up, though.
They probably are. Well, but wouldn't that be funny?
It would be.
I would have to swear him off in more than one way.
From one of our sources, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, and you know the guy too. I'll have to tell you later. 3A Region 8, Holly Pond, Brindley Mountain, Whitesburg Christian, Collinsville, Asbury, Fife, Sylvania, Geraldine.
So that sounds like we're going to see Winfield move up to Class 4A probably.
Yeah, that is right, because we did not see no Winfield. All right, we're in 4A, and they're in the South, so we'll let that roll through and get you hopefully some news on maybe a Curry move. We'll see. No, they will not be moving. Curry would not be, would they?
Yeah, no, they should stay in 4A.
Yeah, because we did not see a Curry in 3A.
We need to see if Cordova is in 4A or if they could possibly move up to 5A. I would think Dora would stay right in the middle of 4A.
Yeah, they're one of those schools. They're always like right in the middle, you know. We're in Region 2, still down in South Alabama.
Do they even play football in South Alabama?
Sometimes, ever so often. Hanley, Booker T, St. James, Talladega, Bibb County, Tallahassee, West Blockton, and Bullitt counties in Region 3 in Class 4A. Yeah, we're waiting. For a Region 4. Here we go. Dora is in Region 4. Fultondale, Fairfield, Pleasant Grove, Oak Grove, Tarrant, Holt, American Christian, and Dora.
Wow, that's an interesting region. Dora is moving around a little bit there.
Fultondale, Fairfield, Pleasant Grove, Oak Grove, Tarrant, Holt, American Christian, and Dora.
So Pleasant Grove drops down to 4A.
Yeah.
And you got to think they're gonna be a contender for a state title.
Good grief. Yeah, that is man, I tell you, that's a tough. Curry is in 4A in Region 5. Not a lot of movement here, but something interesting. You got Curry, you have Haleyville, you have Cordova in that region. You have Hamilton, you have Welcome Winfield, Good Hope, J.B. Pennington, and Fayette County.
Wow, that's a good region too. And no Corner in there, it looks like.
No Corner. Yeah, you're right.
So could Corner have moved up to 5A possibly? Or are they coming up in the next couple of regions?
That is a good question. Curry and Cordova in Region 5 and 4A.
That's a good region there. The Curry and Cordova staying together. That's an interesting region.
Region 6 has Munford, Etowah, Alexandria. Corner is going to 5A from what I'm being told. Cleburne County, Cherokee County, Hopes Bluff, Asheville, White Plains, and Aniana, all in Region 6 and 4A. Region 7 has Central, Florence, Deschler, Danville, Wilson, West Limestone, West Morgan, East Lawrence, and Hatton.
I think that Dora region is really interesting, having Fairfield dropping down.
Yeah, that's an interesting
Pleasant Grove dropping down, but I think it's top heavy, and Dora should be in the top 4 teams in that region.
And Region 8, we won't even go through this. This is an odd region. Madison Academy, Kate Duncan Smith, that is Dar High School. DAR, Dar, whatever you want to call them. St. John Paul Catholic School, Plainview, Randolph, North Jackson, Madison County, New Hope, and Westminster. All of that one. And now we move into 5A. We'll see what comes up in 5A. We understand Corner is moving over there. They're kind of out of our coverage, at least at the radio station. But they're right across the county line. So, and I know we have a lot of folks that do follow Corner, so we will let you know what's going on there.
Yeah, they're a whopping 5 miles from Dora High School, probably.
Yeah, the county line clash, right?
That's right. Dora can't seem to win that one.
Yeah, really. That's they've had their trouble with Corner. Corner's got a great program over there, though. Good school, beautiful facility.
Yeah. Really, since the new school's been built, it's you've seen a difference in their football program more than anything else.
Sure. Yeah.
They've always been competitive in basketball, baseball. Their wrestling team's always been pretty good, but now we're seeing a lot more competitiveness out of the football team.
5A, we're at Region 3 with Selma, Demopolis, Jemison, Sylacauga, Valley, Beauregard, and Central of Clay County, which is always good. Coach Danny Horn knows how to win state championships.
Yeah, he certainly does. We found that out a couple times.
5A, Region 5, Corner, Briarwood Christian, Ramsey, Centerpoint, John Carroll, Carver, Winona, and Hayden. So basically, Corner took Jasper's spot.
Right, that's what it sounds like.
That's basically all that is. So that pretty much shores up the deal that, yes, Jasper is moving up to Class 6A, and we will see if my sources are correct. Here, just
see if they're going north or not.
Yeah, see if they're going north or not. Of course, the show being brought to you by Pinnacle Bank, member FDIC, Bevel State Community College, and the Pie Factory. 5A Region 6 has Springville, Moody, St. Clair County, Lincoln, Anniston, Leeds, and Jacksonville. as we await just the final word now on Jasper, but we do believe that they will be in Region 7, and the old gang is back. Boy, it's going to be a... Yeah, man, you think about... James, you're like me, you look at storylines. You talking about a season just filled with storylines.
Oh, yeah.
You got the Coleman rivalry. You've got Hartselle, where Coach Moore is now. You have Muscle Shoals, where our old friend Scott Baisden is from Cordova.
Right, yeah.
Man, I tell you, it's going to be an exciting season.
Yeah, I mean, just thinking about the Brian Moore aspect of it, that's an interesting game for Jasper to play those guys at Hartselle. We're always going to be ready to play Coleman. Maybe though, being in a region like this, it opens up where Jasper and Dora can play each other in a non-region game. That would be an interesting thing to see.
Yeah. All right, we're moving into 6A, and we're of course going through the South right now in Region 1: St. Paul, Saraland, Spanish Fort, Theodore, Murphy, McGill-Tulin, Blunt, Gulf Shores, and Baldwin County. Just waiting the official word on Jasper, and we will be out of here for today. Appreciate you folks. I'm going to post all of these regions on our Facebook page. There'll be a screenshot of each region, so you'll be able to share that here in just a few minutes once we get off the air here. So, and James, I'm sure you'll share it on the Community Journal page as well.
Yeah, we'll have something as well. I'm sure we'll put a story together and have some comments from a few of our coaches in the area as well.
6A Region 3, Benjamin Russell, Spain Park, Chilton County, Pelham, Helena, Chelsea, Calera. Now, this is where it'll get interesting to see, because they projected at one point Jasper would be in Region 4. So
right.
let's see what happens with Region 4 and who may have bumped Jasper out of that region. Region 4 has Central, Hueytown, Bessemer City. That's who knocked Jasper out of it. Yep. McAdory, Brookwood, Northridge, and Paul Bryant. Bessemer City was not in this. Walker was, or Jasper was in the mix for this. Bessemer City was not. Now on to Region 5, but at least Jasper will stay in the north. Gardendale, Mortimer Jordan, Woodlawn, Jackson Olin, Parker, Homewood, and Minor. That probably would have been a region that Jasper could have landed in.
Yeah, and that's not a terrible
That's not a terrible region. All right, now you move on to Region 6. You got Huffman, Mountain Brook, Clay Chalkwell. Now this is where you don't want to be. Pinson Valley, Shades Valley, Oxford, and Pell City.
Wow. That is a top to bottom really strong region.
That is stout. All right, let's see if this is right. Region 7 coming up for the Vikings. And let's go over one more time who they will be playing in Region 7. Coleman, Athens, Columbia, Decatur, Hartselle, Muscle Shoals, and Jasper. Your thoughts?
You know, that's a really tough region. Every team pretty good in that region. And like you said, the storylines, I think, is what will make it even more interesting to be able to see a couple of our former local coaches like Brian Moore and Scott Baisden on the schedule, and then to have a rivalry like Coleman in a region just makes it even bigger. It's going to be a lot of fun this year.
I agree with you.
Next year, I should say.
Yeah, now this will not have anything to do with the upcoming, baseball and softball seasons.
Right. This all starts over in the fall.
Right. So, merge back in here with you. All right, very good. Well, James, what an interesting afternoon. This has been it's actually been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm glad you invited me to come on and run my mouth for a little while.
Well, and I appreciate it too. And
Some people are scared to give me a live mic, and you're always.
I've never been
hospitable.
scared. I've never been scared of that, James. So, I have some fears in my life, but that's not one of them. It's fine. No, I appreciate it, James, and of course you can read all about it on the Community Journal.
There you go.
James, thank you.
All right, thank you, man. We'll see you later.
All right, bye-bye. All right, James Phillips from the Community Journal, and he will be signing off with us here. And boy, I tell you, what an afternoon. It lasted a little bit longer than what I first anticipated. Did not think it would take this long to get everything confirmed with the association, but it is what it is. Now, I do want to say that we're going to put up these regions again for you, where you can see them. And if you will be patient with me just a moment, while I get these scanned into the system, and that way you can see them. And I'll also share them on our Facebook page as well. But that way you can see kind of. You may have missed this. Oh, Brett, you were talking too fast. Well, that's everything was moving pretty fast anyway. But an intriguing day. We've seen some teams make some moves. Some of them were surprises, some not. But we shall see, as all this will start during football season. Last year, Columbia brought 27 fans to Muscle Shoals High School. Can you believe that? That's Columbia's in there with Muscle Shoals and Jasper now. There's going to be some great matchups though coming out of all of this. Let me go ahead and pull up some of these regions, and that way we'll go through this one more time before I get out of here. If I can figure out what I'm doing. Working without a net. We are live here. There we go. Okay. Brett's on top of it now. Trust me. Famous last words. Let me pull this up here in Class 1A. There you have it. I'll let you look that over. And we'll look at it together here in just a moment. South Lamar, Pickens, Barry, Marion County, Brilliant, Summit and Christian, Lynn, and Hubbardville. Pretty good region there, I think. I'd like to see Summit and Christian and Lynn still in there together. Natural rival, I guess. And let's move on and go to our next region. That'll be 7. Cherokee, Phillips, Hackleburg, Shoals Christian, Vina, Waterloo, Addison, and Meek. 2 of our Winston County schools are in there. As you take a look at 1A Region 7. Once again, just be patient with me, loading everything in here as we get it. Let's see, 4. And we'll go through these together. 5. I have 7 slides I'm trying to load up here. That way I'll have everything together for you, and we'll run through them. 6. And I'm loading the final one. I need a producer. Doing everything here. They're working me to death. All right. There's 1A Region 7. Let's go 2A. Lexington, Tanner, Red Bay, Belgreen, Tharptown, Decatur Heritage, Winston County. They're in 2A Region 8. We move now to 4A Region 4. Fultondale, Fairfield, Pleasant Grove, Oak Grove, Tarrant, Holt, American Christian, and Dora. That's in Region 4. In 4A Region 5, it's Curry, Haleyville, Cordova, Hamilton, Winfield, Good Hope, J.B. Pennington, and Fayette County. In 5A Region 5, it's Corner, Briarwood, Ramsey, Centerpoint, John Carroll Catholic, Carver of Birmingham, Winona, and Hayden. And then in Class 6A, Region 7, Coleman, Athens, Columbia, Decatur, Hartselle, Muscle Shoals, and Jasper. Wow. Interesting day. This has been a lot of fun, I tell you that much. Looking forward to the upcoming football season. We appreciate our sponsors, Pinnacle Bank, Bevel State, the Pie Factory. That's going to do it. We're going to sign off. Hopefully, either later today or tomorrow, we will have a reaction from some of the coaches who will be joining us here on the live stream. So thank you so very much for tuning in. Be sure and like and subscribe to our page on YouTube. And follow us on Facebook, the whole 9 yards. You know how to do it. And, of course, on X, formerly as Twitter. All right. Brett Elmore for James Phillips, bidding you a most pleasant good afternoon.